This video is about how to survive the winter in the garden, and it's bloody tough. I kind of break it down into three areas. There's financially surviving the winter, there is emotionally surviving the winter, and there is surviving the winter in terms of just bringing in enough work to keep you going and allow the business to see through those times. In terms of financially, how you survive, then the first thing is it's all about knowing your prices. You've got to know what your costs are so that you're charging yourself out at an appropriate rate that can see you through those tough times. So, you've got to build into your expenses the possibility that you might be able to have work for a month, and build that into your pricing structure, which only you can do. The other thing that's really worked for me is getting as many of my customers as I can on paying for their garden maintenance over a 12-month period. So if I go and do a job for someone, and they're a regular customer, I don't need the cash and the check that day. I don't do it like that. But half of my regulars now, where they pay a fixed amount for their yearly maintenance. This is small gardens and big gardens. Some of it is based on hourly rates, some of it is based on price work, but they spread that payment out over 12 months, which means for them, in January time, when I renew all these, they set up a monthly standing order, and then they can forget about it, and I can forget about it for the rest of the year. Which means that I know now, for me, January and February, if there is snow on the ground and I literally cannot do anything, I've still got a guaranteed income of X amount coming in every month, which easily covers my bills now going. So that's one thing I've done. It's not appropriate for every job and it's not appropriate for every customer, but I found that works for me. So that's kind of the financial side then. In terms of providing enough work, I would say that's effectively marketing yourself and your services. If you just, I know this is something I go on about in my videos, but if you just do lawns, then you're going to struggle. You've got to have more skills, and you've got to be able to offer your customers more skills, more specialist skills, I would say. Be that capabilities to do large clearance jobs, or maybe that means having a knowledge of starting to develop knowledge of garden design. It might be that you do whole soft landscape. Oh man, that is cold out there. That is absolutely bitter. Right, back to what I was talking about. So yeah, doing the right jobs at the right time. The other thing that I found is try to attract larger gardens. Not everyone will agree with me on this. For me, I found an ideal mix that works for me is small gardens and big gardens. Small gardens sometimes can be more lucrative because they are more predictable and they are easier to get fixed price, which is always better than hourly rate. So small gardens can be lucrative. However, large gardens, where maybe they're more complex, you're more likely to do hourly rate work because there's so much to do that you couldn't possibly price it. But if you're on a good hourly rate, it's a large garden, so there's guaranteed work to do in the winter. I think often they can balance themselves out. Small garden, initially more profitable, but they might not see you November to March. Big garden, maybe you're on hourly rates, but you're there for much longer. So big gardens work for me, and kind of linked into that to help see you through the winter is you have to know what you're doing. Okay, and what I mean by that is, whether we like it or not, most customers see garden maintenance as unskilled work. That's a reality, and I don't think it's ever going to change. And in many ways, a lot of our job is completely unskilled, proven by the fact that anyone can stick a card, in a shop, buy a mower and call themselves a gardener. It makes the job for professional gardeners difficult, but that's the reality. It's never going to change. It will only ever get worse, I think. And if you fall into that bracket, things are difficult. But if you have that knowledge behind you, or you're working towards getting that knowledge behind you, as we all are, then what you will find is that there are very few gardeners out there who really know about plants and design and proper pruning. Pruning is not whipping out a hedge cutter and doming a shrub into a ball, which you see a lot. Sometimes that's appropriate, but often it's not. If you've got the more knowledge to prune properly, you will attract a totally different type of customer. You will attract people that want to invest in their gardens, and they have invested a lot of money, and they want someone who knows what they're doing to work in it. And because they like their garden, because they want to invest in it, they're much more likely to take on projects. They're much more likely to see you as a professional and take your advice. So when you suggest winter projects that could be done, it could be a hedge renovation, it could be dividing perennials, whatever, they're much more likely to take that advice. They're much more likely to go through and book that work with you because they like their garden and they want to invest money in it. So that is a big thing as well. One thing that I want to just mention quickly is something that I think we all need to be aware of, and it's about diversifying your services. So I'll take an example. John Ryan on YouTube, who many of you, if you're watching this, have probably seen. There's a guy that offers a diverse range of services, from the lawn stuff to pressure washing to window cleaning, because being a window cleaner is very different from being, a gardener. It's a completely different trade, but he offers that range of diversified services, and it seems like for him it really works. And I think there's a reason why it works. It's because he's good at what he does. He's comes across as very professional in terms of his equipment, his image, his vehicles. He comes across as a professional business offering a diverse range of services and therefore it works. However, I think that same setup with a different person fronting it could be a bad way to go. And I think you just have to be mindful of that, because you know, if I'm ever in like in the local shop or whatever, I'll have a look at the notice board and you'll see notices up there. Someone who'll do gardening, but there's also a chimney sweep and all this sort of thing. And sometimes how they market themselves with that diverse range of services just makes them look really, really cheap and jack of all trades, master of none. And customers will see that, and you will attract cheap customers. So I think if you are going to offer a diverse range of services to help get you through a winter period, you have to do it in an absolutely professional way, so that the customer sees it as a professional business. Otherwise, they will purely just see you as cheap, jack of all trades, master of none, just doing anything, and you will attract the wrong sort of customer. But the final point of surviving the winter as a gardener is the emotional side of it, and that can often be the toughest, I think. Running a gardening business is not easy. When the sun's shining in the summer and you're cutting grass and all the flowers are out and the trees are in leaf, it's lovely, and you've got sun on your back, it's bliss, it's absolute bliss. But there is that time of the year when it's not like that. And in my earlier years, I used to hate the winter. I really used to hate it. You know the summer's coming to an end, November's on the horizon, it's going to be cold and damp and miserable and horrible, and it makes you want to jacket in. And the only way I survived that, this is when I was working on an estate, is working with other people, the other gardeners on the team. We had a team of about 5 or 6, and you all get on and you all kind of sort of dig in and get yourself through it. But on your own, it's tougher, because like today, it's blowing a gale, it's cold, as you can see I'm all steamed up, and you've got no one to talk to. That can be hard. So tips for surviving the winter would be, one, you've got to love what you do. It doesn't mean you have to like it every day, but you've got to like what you do. And if you like what you do and you've got a bit of a passion for it, then even if it's a bit grotty outside, if you can get some pleasure and some enjoyment for what you do, then good. The other way to survive it emotionally, I think, is if the weather is really bad, don't go out. Because for me, if I go out and it's absolutely miserable and I'm doing not a very nice job, maybe it's really mucky or dirty, that can send my mood down to the ground for a couple of days, and I'll get annoyed and irritable and cantankerous and sarcastic and shitty and not a very nice person to be around. So it's better to not go out and do something indoors and not let yourself get in that position. Radio, music is a must if you work on your own. You know, I let clients know that I'm not being antisocial when I've got my earpiece in. I'm listening to the radio because I have to have something going on, otherwise you just go nuts. But it might be that you book your holidays for that time of year. It might be that you only do, half days or 3-day weeks or whatever. I would say maximize that time to do all your paperwork. January is when I do all my price increases, as I'll be doing this year. It's when I do all my contracts. They start and stop in January. I don't wait till the spring. I do it in January. I give my customers sort of the ultimatum: if you want to stay on for this year, I'll hold your place for a few weeks, but I want to know, you know, how to plan for that year ahead. So do all that in the winter work as well. And it's the tools and machinery and maintenance and all that other stuff. But it's tough surviving the winter as a gardener. I think the longer you do it, the more of a reputation you build up, the more clients you have, you will get different projects coming along, which helps. It keeps it interesting and diverse. But it ain't easy. It ain't easy. So good luck out there for this winter.